D3 and D4? Or
District 4 and District 13.
All right, great. Good to see. I recognize these names from our pen pals. How you doing? Well, thank you all for coming. I'm pleased to announce today that we are reporting the second consecutive year of crime decreases in the city of Milwaukee. As you see behind me, our logo announces that in our business, sometimes success is measured by what doesn't happen. And last year, we had a lot of things not happen. We're happy to report that violent crime is down 13% from the 2008 numbers and down 20% from 2 years ago. Total crime is down 7.2% from last year and 12% from 2 years ago. Now, these are sustainable decreases. They're trends, and they demonstrate that this city is moving in the right direction. What's really important is to recognize what these numbers mean. These numbers translate to 3,072 fewer crime victims in 2009 than in 2008. It means 5,570 fewer crime victims from 2 years ago. Now, these are important because in these circumstances, the numbers are people. Now, you have the statistics in front of you. I call your attention, for example, to the drop in auto theft by a quarter from last year, 25% reduction, which is a 37% reduction in 2 years. Now, I think by any standard, that's a stunning and impressive decrease, and it's due directly to the efforts of our officers who nightly and daily make car stops and check for suspects and check for suspicious activity. They're making lots of subject stops. They're making lots of good arrests. They're making strong cases. They're preventing crimes. They're interrupting crimes in progress. Now, some of those officers who do all of the above are behind me today. I've got officers from the anti-burglary cars from the 3rd and 4th districts, as well as detectives from the Property Crimes Division. I've got district commanders with me as well. All of them are working hard to have a measurable impact on crime, fear, and disorder in the communities for which they are responsible. Now, there's been much talk recently in the newspapers nationally about a national crime decrease and about national trends. I want to make a very important point today. There isn't a national crime decrease in a meaningful sense of the word because all crime, like all politics, is intensely local. The crime decreases in the United States today are being driven by crime decreases in the large American cities that have adopted the toolkit of progressive policing. Whether it's Boston or New York or Los Angeles or Milwaukee, the significant decreases in crime in those cities that have adopted some form of community-based, problem-oriented, and data-driven policing methods have resulted in dramatic increases that happened almost immediately. Here in Wisconsin, for example, a recent study touted the 20% reduction in murders in Wisconsin from 2008 to 2007. Well, that was true. There had been 38 fewer murders in the state of Wisconsin in 2008 than 2007. But there were 34 fewer murders in Milwaukee alone. 95% of the decrease in murders in the state were achieved by one single city. Now, crime reduction strategies work when we use crime analysis, when we do data-driven deployments, when we engage with the community, when we use problem solving. That's been the action plan here at the Milwaukee Police Department for the last 2 years, and it's still working. Now, here we are in 2010. We're reporting good news and good police work, but I am cautious about the future. I think it's important to note that disinvestments in criminal justice are a false economy when it comes to budget balancing. Our challenge right here in Milwaukee is to recognize that crime has a direct financial impact on individuals, on households, on neighborhoods, and on cities. It extracts a financial as well as a human cost. Lost property must be recovered. Insurance claims must be made. Insurance rates go up. Medical treatment must be administered, frequently without health insurance. Cars have to be fixed. Sometimes jobs are lost. And crime exacts a real toll on neighborhoods and cities when it creates a reputation or an aura that states this place is too dangerous to visit or work. The early release programs that the state's adopting, because it has to balance a budget, and I hasten to recognize that I understand budget stresses every level of government, there are going to have an impact on our streets. You know, Milwaukee receives over 3,500 offenders to its streets every day back from prison. It's estimated that 44% of all of the early releases are going to come to Milwaukee. And that translates to approximately 1,400 people will be coming back to Milwaukee early. Now, 14% of our arrests last year, 4,800 arrests last year, were arrests of people who were violating parole or probation. 15% of those 4,800 were arrested more than once in the same year for violating arrest or probation or parole. Now, given the fact that 14,500 people in the city are on some type of probation and parole, we can see that these decisions are going to have real ramifications for us. Now, we've already examined the records of some of the people being early released. They're not records that would give you great confidence that the individual is going to refrain from future offenses. We have a 51-year-old individual here who's been released on January 5th of 2010, has 33 adult arrests to his record, including charges for murder, battery, burglary, and robbery. He's consistently shown that he can't stay out of jail. We have a 35-year-old released on January 13th of 2010 with 8 adult arrests: resisting an officer, drugs, carrying a concealed weapon, driving a stolen car, reckless battery. He had 15-year sentence. He had a 15-year prison sentence, and he was released. Last time he was released was in 2004. 6 months later, he was under arrest for cocaine possession and resisting an officer. He stayed clean for all of 6 months after his last release, and he's back among us again. A 39-year-old we have here with 7 adult arrests, including 4 separate arrests for burglary. Burglars tend to be extraordinarily high-rate offenders, and every time one is released, we can pretty well be assured that person will reoffend. Another one, a 49-year-old with 14 career arrests as an adult: burglary, resisting an officer, felony theft, battery, disorderly conduct, felon in possession of a firearm. I didn't ask where he had gotten the firearm. That's a separate press conference. Despite his 6-year prison sentence in 2007, he's back in prison almost immediately, and now he's back on our streets. This is going to be a challenge for us. We recognize the challenges in the economy, the high unemployment rate, the large number of returning offenders. These are going to create stresses as we move forward. We remain committed to our strategy. I'm convinced we can continue to have a positive effect on the safety in the city and continue to improve on the work we've done. But I would not be entirely straightforward if I didn't bring to your attention things I am concerned about that will obviously affect our work going forward.